Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next episode of the AI Founder Files at our Chat GTT YouTube channel. And let us tell you this, that today we have a very young and a very promising young man today as our guest. Let us welcome Tanish Shewani, who is the future synthesist creating the digital grid for sustainability at Bharat Carbon. Welcome to our show, Tanish.
Thank you for thank you for calling me to this podcast.
Okay, Tanish, we've been hearing a lot about the work that you've been doing in the environmental space, and my first question to begin this podcast is by asking you that what was that trigger point for starting Bharat Carbon, and what made climate tech your mission?
Definitely. See, in this space, there's a lot happening in the climate space, right? With a lot of disasters, a lot of droughts, floods, forest fires, all of that. And especially in the COVID era of like the 2-3 years when it lasted, there were a lot of events that was creating a lot of climate anxiety in people. A lot of people still choose not to act on it, but a lot of companies came out of it as well, where climate tech being in the nascent stage brought about a lot of people to think about it. Now, in this space, so in 2021, that sort of set in for me, climate anxiety sort of set in for me, and being inclined towards R&D, I decided to devote a lot of my time and effort into researching into that space. And in fact, that was like the pivotal time for me, where my background in tech and my background in my newfound passion for sustainability sort of came together, and I sort of started Bharat Carbon. It definitely did start with a small idea, but the objective to increase data accessibility and have that impact in a country like India was my primary objective to what I started out with.
Okay, this is a very interesting space because Tanish, when I look at people outside, very few people think about environment or the ecosystem or even the concept of sustainability. Now, when you call yourself a future synthesist, okay, I am very curious to know that you coined the term Vishwa Carbon. What does that mean for you?
Correct. So, firstly, definitely we're a made in India product for the globe, right? The objective is never to just work in one particular geography, because this is not a single geography problem. This is a world problem. Now, thinking about the future and building a system for it. See, I'm a systems thinker, so I don't plan something like I can build in like what do you call couple of months, and then that business, just because of a trend, runs for a couple of years and then goes on the decline, like a lot of businesses do in the entertainment e-commerce space. That is there as well. So what my thought was to build a long-term strategy and a long-term plan, where I can look into the future, plan it out what I want the future to look like, and then reverse engineer the entire process step by step to see how I can achieve it with what I'm building today. With that kind of thought and that kind of knowledge that you bring to the table, and especially with the expertise that you can foster through it, where people are not partnered up with you for just one project or just one sort of like a 1 year or a 2 year engagement, but in the long term with both scientific community and the tech, I feel there's a lot of potential to tap into. And having that long term approach is way better than just having like a 1-2 year timeline approach.
Okay, that definitely gives us a lot of clarity. And as a future synthesist, how does that mindset shape your approach to building with artificial intelligence the products that you're bringing into the market today?
Correct. It makes you look at the problem that you're solving from a more holistic perspective. It doesn't give you that I have one problem, how do I solve it for today? It is how do I solve this problem for tomorrow as well, right? So the product that you create won't help you just conceptualize the features that is the need for today, but also anticipate what is required in the future. So definitely the development and the approach for that, when it comes to systems thinking and applying that critical thought to it, it's not only just conceptualizing that yeah, this is what my customer needs, this is what I'm delivering, but also with the conversation that you're having with the customer, anticipate what they would require in the future as well. So the deeper that you can dive and the more research that and the more feedback that you can gather from them, that definitely molds your approach in a different manner, where you're not just focused on solving one small problem, but also anticipating what the future problems might be.
Okay. So, Tanish, coming to the next question, and I am extremely floored by the concept of Bharat Carbon targeting 1 billion tons of CO2e, which is whopping. It's 10 times, the gigaton goal set by, the telecom and cloud peers.
Correct.
So I want to know from you that how do you plan to get there using tech? And you've kept a target of, bringing this reduction by 2030.
Yes.
We're curious to know.
Definitely. So it was like initially it was a goal that I had a mindset that I just set initially, but slowly over a period of a year, that's when it got validated. When I met Dr. Rajesh Biniwale, in the first meeting itself, I presented my goal to him, and he asked me the reason why you chose 1 billion tons of emissions. That definitely is a big number, and I didn't have the answer back then, but over in the second meeting, which was towards the end of the day, he came back to me and said that we'll not do one, but we'll do four. So that was like a game changer for me. Now, the reason I chose 1 billion tons of emissions, definitely what we are polluting in the world is much larger than that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But 1 billion tons definitely builds that credibility and impact at a larger scale that we're looking at. Now, 2030, why? Because we have chosen an industry which is mining specifically.
Okay.
Now, mining is at the bottom of the value chain. So if you see most competitors in the space who do carbon accounting, ESG reporting, all are targeting the OEMs and the top of the chain, where the product is either assembled or it from there it goes ahead to the customer.
Mm-hmm.
So people are targeting the the top of the chain, and they're slowly coming down. What our approach was because see, like when people come top down, they're eventually going to need the bottom data as well.
Absolutely.
For them to go net zero. So like someone like a Tata Motors, unless they have emission data on who's mining their iron ore, copper, aluminium, all of that, you're not going to have access to your net zero capability or your complete potential.
True,
so what
true.
our objective is that if the entire competition is busy on getting the top down approach, focusing on the companies at the top, we are focusing at companies on the bottom where the emissions are the largest. So if you see a mining company, like with each mining company, with each mine, I have the capability to reduce 1 to 5 million tons of emissions per mine, because there the investment is much larger. They definitely have the capability, but also the ability to help them increase product premiumness and like better standing on a global competition level, since they export a lot to different countries, with also Europe coming into picture with the carbon tax as well. So that we help them reduce costs, because huge costs, they're like 100 crores worth of cost in each mine that you run, with trucks, fuel, managing the air quality, all of that. And they do take some efforts on CSR and promoting agriculture and education around the mines, but that's not enough. That's just more of a social impact than environmental impact.
Mm-hmm.
But their environmental impact is way higher. So we have them with product premiumness, we have them with global competition, we have them with reducing their OPEX, and we also help them with reducing their emissions. So the first three combined definitely help them set the precedence to reduce emissions and also have a reduced risk capability.
Okay. So just taking a cue from this, Tanish, when you talk about global climate intelligence and decarbonization ecosystem that brings together the local impact and global insight,
Correct.
how do you plan to approach this, and how are you going to create awareness about this?
Correct. So one is definitely, so it's like a multi-prong approach. So the first one is to build the ecosystem, get the ecosystem together. So you see what we have done with Bharat Carbon, we have built a complete decarbonization life cycle. So it's basically built on 5 pillars. The first one is carbon accounting, which helps you measure and analyze your carbon footprint, because without understanding it, you cannot take action, and any action that you take doesn't make sense. Second one is ESG reporting for the companies that are mandated to do so and the companies that work with global clients. ESG compliance is a big thing. Third one is a net zero strategy. Again, having clear targets, clear SDGs, sustainable development goals set up, having clear communication with your stakeholders. Now, sustainability isn't just like a one-person job in an organization where he will make all the decisions and get all the job done.
True.
It's a collaborative effort within the entire organization, right? It doesn't just include the heads of the department, it includes your employees, includes your board of directors, includes your suppliers, if you have franchisees and franchisees, your subsidiaries holding. So it's not like a one-person job. So what our platform does is it's a centralized knowledge repository with a decentralized data collection mechanism. So we even help you to stakeholder engagement on a platform, which helps you understand what your suppliers care about, what your board cares about, what your employees care about. And that way you can make better decisions when it comes to sustainability and what to prioritize as an organization. And once we have your net zero strategy, is here is where the full human in the loop comes into play. So the first three pillars is completely tech driven, AI, automation, all of the features are there. And then we get our scientists on board, we get a couple of social people on board and a couple of governance people on board to help you draft a more robust net zero strategy, with which then we aggregate a complete managed access marketplace where you can get ESG services, you can get decarbonization solutions, all the innovative ones. We have providers in Switzerland, we have patents from CSR Niri that we are licensing out as we speak as well, and IIT Kanpur, GIS mapping, satellite mapping, all of that capabilities we have built internally. Now with this, we don't just end there. The fifth pillar is monitoring and maintenance, where we work with
Mhm.
you over a 5 to 10 year period to help you ensure that what you have adopted as a company is still giving you that effort and giving you progress over a 5 to 10 year period.
Okay.
So again, we are completely outcome driven on this entire aspect to ensure that sustainability is not just a buzzword, but it's completely adopted within your organization. And out here, the biggest core focus for us is education, because that is the biggest drawback in a market like India, where there is lack of awareness and lack of education. If you see, there are different portals that exist from the UN, from the central government, but they still talk the language that we read in our EVS books, right? And that definitely people are done hearing, done seeing, and feel like they already do it, even though they don't do it,
They don't do it.
right?
Correct.
So we have to change our approach in the way that we foster that education, foster that awareness. So recently I did a talk in Chennai where I mentored two kids in the sustainability domain to create ideas, and they presented their idea and both of the kids won. Now with this exercise, I didn't just interact with those two kids because I was the only mentor there that gave them a session pre pre the presentation to ask me questions, help set the presentation right, and all of those things. Doing this entire process, I spoke to 15 other kids.
Mhm.
Now they all wanted to take action in sustainability. In our carbon accounting, we have multiple apps built for employees, subsidiaries, other stakeholders, all of that. Right. So there was one app which we had also built as part of the ecosystem, which is an individual carbon calculator.
Okay.
Now, in any given enterprise office, if I give that particular app, they're not going to fill data onto it, right?
Correct.
If I give it to a 40-year-old, 50-year-old, they're going to be like, "Itna mehnat kyun karu main? What is the reason for me
True.
to give you
True.
data?" Right? There's no incentive for me. Definitely, as a company, you can set those incentives, but definitely you're not going to get more than 30-40% of the data on a regular daily basis, which is required. So what we are doing is we are switching the model. We are not giving it to employees itself, but we're giving it to school kids
Mhm.
and making it a learning program for them, where we are taking giving it to them, educating them about it, getting them to take it home, getting them to add their mother, father, uncle, aunt, grandmom, granddad as well, because when the kid is learning, the entire family is engaged. So instead of me pushing to the parents, I'm pushing to the kid, where it becomes like a learning experience for the full family. And then we're incentivizing students with like expeditions to Antarctica, like the people who reduce their actual footprint on a larger scale and the people who come top in the leaderboard basically get expeditions like a climate learning experience to Antarctica, which then becomes a prestige for the school as well and for the student and their family. So like that, you see, like if I get 20,000 kids to sort of engage with my particular app, 20,000 into a family of four, so it's about like 80,000 people just interacting with my app and are engaged with my app because their kid is learning.
That's a really smart way, and I would say, an extremely innovative way of involving the larger community in the process. I wanted to just dive a little bit on the ESG factor, because I
Sure.
know that you're very passionate about also talking about ESG, and through your program and through Vishwa Carbon, that is one of the key element over here. Now, if I look at the global paradigm, Tanish, what do you think? At a global level, which countries are way ahead in ESG and are taking this very seriously? And at our national level, where do you think we are scoring at this point of time?
Definitely. So if you see the global landscape, US is definitely far ahead. They have adopted ESG. They have utilized it to its maximum. They have scrapped it even, and like with the new policies coming in as well. But there's still a large community who voluntarily does it as well. In Europe as well, they are in fact more transformative, where they're creating newer, better policies at a much faster pace. So if you see, like, they have progressed to a level where there's a carbon tax coming into picture as well, and they have much more stringent policies for everything being imported into the continent, as well as how businesses are supposed to run. When it comes to Asia as a market, definitely Asia is picking up. Malaysia has come out with its own framework, SDEG, again based on the Western framework. India also BRSR, again based on a Western framework. So what Asia is doing is adopting specific frameworks from the Western world and making it their own. But right now, we are still in the testing phase. If you see, BRSR is managed only for top 1,000 companies, and then this year for another like total of 1,500 companies that are there. So SEBI is right now in an experimental activity, trying to understand what works, what their customers are okay with disclosing, because there are a lot of errors that still come in the BRSR reports that are there, even if they are third party verified and validated. So there's a lot of challenges when it comes to the data points. Now, SEBI has given only like about 800 to 1,000 data points, and that still is a daunting task for most Indian corporates.
True.
So again, making their lives easier by giving them a tech product which enables them to just dump their knowledge base onto the platform, and AI generates it for you, makes their lives very easy.
Thank you, Tanish, for giving us so much of clarity and information about your product, your service offering. And what really resonated with me is about the environment conservation that also comes into the picture, the carbon emission part of it that we've spoken about, and the ESG factor as well. My next question to you is, Tanish, is that can you break down how your AI platform collects and interprets emission data from so many different routes?
Correct. So if you see how we have embedded AI into the software, it's like multi-level. It's a multi-level approach where data collection is the first, data ingestion is the second, data processing, and then the dual intelligence aspect comes into play. So in data collection, we definitely have two parts out there. One is an AI OCR. In India, a lot of data required for sustainability calculations, for carbon footprint calculations, sits within physical documents as well. So you can scan those documents, and directly with the OCR intelligence, it gets collected. The relevant fields get collected, and then with the full ingestion pipeline that we have built, it also gets filled into the product by itself. So that is where we have the first part. Second part is we have added anomaly detection using AI. So if a certain electricity bill has one format of data, and then we also connect it to an API on another format. So this is something called data triangulation, where we not only look at one source but two or three sources where the data is coming in from. So suppose from your ERP system there's a different number coming, and from your electricity bill that you scan through AI OCR there's a different number coming. We basically do an anomaly detection to catch those errors before it goes into your calculation.
Okay.
So that's like the two part where we focus on the data collection aspect. Now when it comes to the processing, so once we're done with the data collection, we go to the processing. Now we have another capability where you can ingest all your documents, not just the bills is for the calculations of your emissions. But when it comes to social governance factors, all you need to do is just upload all your information onto the portal. So we create like a RAG knowledge base essentially for you internally. So if I add all my social governance policies, and we have also identified 15 documents that enterprise customers, public limited companies submit to a SEBI, to other regulatory bodies, to CPCB, to MCA, all of these that are there. Now I've identified 15 to 20 documents that are there. If the company has already done those, we can provide a one-click ESG reporting as well, where they just need to add those documents and we generate everything for you. If you give us social governance policies, you don't need to write a single word. You go into the ESG portal and you can just click on generate each answer, and it'll generate the answer for you. Then you write a prompt to basically change the tone of voice, change a particular information piece or a specific number that you want to edit.
Okay.
So here we're not telling you to write things, but we're just enabling you to edit it and see what is written for you. So again, we're bringing down the time. So usually carbon accounting takes 4 to 6 months, and even ESG takes about 6 to 12 months. Now with this entire platform, If you're a company that has already done ESG in the past or is just starting out as well, all you need to do is get your initial documents into place. And once the central knowledge base is created, then your process to generate the report is brought down to less than a month.
Okay, okay. Oh, that's a much quicker and
Correct.
definitely more smarter way of doing it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And the third angle is when it comes to net zero strategy. So I've added a complete simulator out there where, two parts again there. One is a simulator. So you add your budget. So suppose as a company, I want to invest 1 crore in my decarbonization efforts, and I put 20% in renewables, 20% in nature-based solutions, another in your electrification. So if I choose coal, if I decide to invest in coal 50%, it shows me my risk, it shows me how much OPEX I can achieve and what my emission reduction looks like. So
Okay.
it gives you a pathway towards net zero, that if these decisions are taken by me today, this is my impact on these three parameters as well. And then from an additional aspect, we have something where we actually utilize the entire knowledge base. So we have two knowledge bases. One, we have internal knowledge base, which is encrypted for the company itself, because that data security is the biggest priority for us when it comes to enterprise clients. And the second aspect is an external knowledge base that we have built using UN documents, World Bank documents, using publicly available BRSR reports, GRI reports, TCFD reports. What we do out here is, suppose you're a mining company and there are 5 other listed mining companies, coal mining or iron ore mining in the same space. We help you do a peer benchmarking and gap analysis completely with AI.
Okay.
So it, like, you can choose the 5 companies that you want that are available in the database. It shows you exactly on ES and G how you stack up against them. So it tells you what you are doing better than other companies and what you are doing less compared to the other companies. So it gives you an in-depth analysis. So if you see, our objective is with AI to build the intelligence up to such a level that you don't have to second guess or worry about, like, how do I make these decisions? Because from your net zero, carbon accounting and ESG, you have so much information available to you at
True.
hand that you don't have to worry about, now should I speak to this person to understand if I should do this. You have everything that you need on this one portal itself.
Yes, yes. Okay, that's quite enlightening, honestly to say. So, Tanish, what makes AI uniquely suited for carbon accounting methods, compared to traditional tools or consultants?
Correct. So when it comes to comparing AI automation in sustainability, in carbon accounting, ESG to consultants, one, it definitely reduces the time, effort, and cost. Now, when I hire a consultant, there are certain pain points. One is data security concerns. Now I'm giving physical documents to a third party outside my organization to sit and do the calculations for me. So it's always prone to human errors, even though if you sign NDA, MOUs with the company as well, it's always prone to human errors. Second aspect is the resources don't come cheap. Like this, like an experienced ESG associate or experienced carbon accounting associate starts at about $85 to $90 an hour. Now, the top enterprises who have $1 million, $1 billion budgets can afford it, because they hire a team of 5 to 10 internally to do the work for them, from engineering, R&D, management. All of those aspects are covered. But when it comes to smaller organizations, they don't have the capability to even hire that one person. So that one person's salary is going to be about 25 lakhs a year, right? So when it comes to this angle, the entire aspect of our platform is to replace a chief sustainability officer, or in fact, not to replace, but to help a chief sustainability officer to enable to do the entire work faster. So what we did is we broke down the roles and responsibilities of a chief sustainability officer, and that is something that we are getting together in the platform, where out of like 10 or 15 roles and responsibilities, we have sort of automating the first 4 and 5, which are easy to do right now, and then slowly we take over the other roles that are there. Because see, this space is nascent, but the frameworks here are globally accepted, and once set, they have variability going down the line. They do get updated as well. But once the process is set, then all you need to do is enhance the knowledge base, and it always evolve with the customer data as well.
Okay. Now we are talking about the AI space where human skills or human intelligence would still matter a lot. I would like to know from you that where does human judgment matter most in the age of AI driven sustainability?
Definitely. So when, using AI both in the platform and externally, like it looks good, it helps you get the work done faster, but also it brings challenges in terms of validation and verification. It can help you do that as well, but if you don't have a human in the loop that helps you validate and verify, you're again prone to mistakes as well. Because if you see how AI is working right now, it still has a lot of, like, it still has a substantial hallucination rate. So it's
Hmm.
not solving the challenges completely. It definitely makes it more efficient by 70 to 80%,
Okay.
but the last 10 to 20%, definitely humans are required to basically validate and verify. So if you see how we have built the tech product, the first three pillars are based on tech, where there is lesser chance of errors in terms of what the AI can handle. But when it comes to a net zero strategy and when it comes to maintenance and monitoring, that is where we bring the human in the loop, because that is where a lot of variability comes into the picture. So AI is good to handle variability up to an extent, but not the complex variability that only a human can handle.
I couldn't have agreed more,
Yeah,
Tanishq, on this point, because human intelligence will definitely be critical in handling AI or monitoring AI, in different spaces. Now, you have made ESG reporting automatic with artificial intelligence. Now, how much does that shift compliance timelines for businesses?
definitely. So if you see, like, again, getting coming back to the question of consultants versus tech, definitely one is the education aspect. So if companies use our product, they have the full education knowledge base at their disposal as well. And what that enables them to do is manage it internally without a really experienced resource. So that definitely where it takes about 6 to 12 months for ESG consultants to do the work for you, we bring that down to less than a month. Not just on carbon accounting, but not just on ESG, but carbon accounting, ESG combined, and then also net zero strategy. So our timeline to value is what we call it, is basically 2 to 3 months, because it does take a little bit
Mhm.
time to integrate with a company that's large, that has set systems. So there are companies that we've worked with that have legacy systems. They're using the same POS, the same ERP since 30, 40 years, and with a less willingness to change. So we have to figure out a way, how do we connect with those systems,
Correct.
right? So the integration takes like about a month, but once that integration is done with with the different APIs that we have and the different systems
Mhm.
that we have, once it's embedded into that ecosystem,
Mhm.
then it makes the, what do you call, the process easier for not just the company, but the people working on it as well.
Okay, that's great. And do you think AI will ever be able to understand the ethical weight of climate decisions, or will that always be human work?
It's majorly human work, but AI is getting there in the climate space. Like, if you see, like, different IPCC has different climate scenarios where business as usual is at 4 degrees. Like, if you don't make any change, you're like, as a business, you're reaching a 4 degree what do you call, value of global warming, um, that way. But then the goal is to limit it below 1.5
Hmm.
degrees, and right now it's shifted to 2 degrees,
Okay.
right? So if you see, there's a major shift happening now when it comes to these climate modeling scenarios. Like, one, what we are doing is right now to adopt it within the business. But there's a larger goal that, if I like, which we are working on internally as well, where we're creating a larger AI system for climate modeling for state governments and central governments as well,
Okay.
where, what do you call, the data that you get from individuals, the data that you get from businesses, obviously it's all encrypted and the sensitive data is redacted.
Hmm.
But with the data that we have access to, we want to build a, what do you call, national level platform which helps state governments and central governments take better action using the climate data that they're getting from an entire state. So that increases the chances of building that climate resilience within the state. Like, if you see Kerala, they have very ambitious goals to become net zero, even faster than what the India target is.
Okay.
And they are more receptive because they are at, like, at the bottom of the like they're at the bottom of the country in terms of geography. So they are more prone to climate related, what do you call, events.
Okay.
So for them to have access to this kind of data makes it better for their decision makers to take better decisions when it comes to a strategic level.
Mhm. Okay. That's very interesting to know, Tanishq. Looking ahead, what's next for AI in sustainability? Are there areas even that you're surprised by?
Definitely, there's a lot happening in the space. Again, the space is very nascent. There's a lot of potential yet to be created. I do see a lot of interesting technologies outside of India and in India as well. Like someone is using AI in Switzerland to use algae as a carbon capture method, where they're
Okay.
growing, like with AI, they've optimized a photobioreactor that grows algae 200 times faster.
Okay.
So the rate for it to capture carbon dioxide from fugitive emissions coming from a factory is way larger. Like this, there are a lot of solutions. Like someone's working on food coloring from mushrooms. So if you see, there are really innovative solutions that are coming globally. It's just not reached commercialization, is why that we don't see it yet.
Hmm.
But in the tech space, there's still a lot to create. For what I found really interesting a while ago, and I feel is the need of the hour, is in India, a lot of clients and people ask the question of what is carbon credits and how do I claim it,
Okay.
even though they have just heard like words like ESG, carbon accounting, and all. They don't care about it. They saw the revenue angle of carbon credits, ki carbon credits se paisa milta hai. So then they keep asking that question, ki how do I as a company claim carbon
Carbon
credits?
credits.
So here the objective, like what we are working on right now as well, based on this widely spread insight, that based on our conversations with different business owners, founders, and people working in the team as well, that carbon credits and revenue generation is the priority for all of them. So our goal is to see how we can create an AI solution for them to claim carbon credits and make the process again for claiming carbon
Hmm.
credits easier, because that again requires additional experience resources. It another takes a 6 to 12 month timeline. So again, we want to see how we can bring that timeline down for them to claim credits, which they can then claim at an international level, not just a national level. And even if you see India right now, they like a carbon credit trading policy is coming into the country really soon, hopefully by next year. It's been announced this year, but it's going to come into action next year. So looking forward to seeing how that pans out, because how that pans out will what basically set the stage on how we basically trade carbon credits at a global level.
This has been a session, full of knowledge and extremely powerful, Tanish, because this service offering, the product that we've been talking about, is extremely unique. And I would now want to come to the last question of this episode, where I want to know from you that what advice would you give to founders who want to build responsibly with artificial intelligence and leave a real impact in this world?
Definitely. So if you see, with AI coming into the picture, it has changed the complete landscape. Where to develop a software like 2 years back would require you like $150,000, that kind of a range, and now it's come down to less than $1,000. So the time taking to build these platforms has reduced drastically, and even the cost as well. So anyone who has no coding experience, no design experience, can create their own POCs at home. So, what my recommendation to other founders building in the space would be is to put the product out there as fast as possible, and even before putting the product, build a wait list, build like some interest around it to gauge the feasibility of it. Because right now, with the time taken to build software coming down so drastically, a lot more people will be entering the space, and a lot
Yes.
more people have the ideas. It just always depends on the execution. So the faster you can put it in the hands of the customers and test and get that feedback, it is really important. Because here now it's not like build and operate kind of model. It is like what do you call, sell, build, and then operate kind of model,
Mhm.
where once you put it in the hands of the customers, see, with AI there's so much variability, you don't know how the user will interact with it. So unless you get user data coming into like unless you get and analyze user data, you're not going to understand how to actually build for the AI
AI
space.
space.
So build, like what do you call, build a small POC, use Lovable, Bolt.io, or any of the other tools that exist. Put it out there, get your customers, and then decide whether to scale it up by building the actual platform or not.
Great. Thank you so much, Tanish, for giving us, your time and for taking us through this journey of Bharat Carbon and your product Vishwa Carbon. I think it's been really inspiring to know from you that, the vision that you have is to definitely make this world and this environment a better place for all of us to, live in and to sustain. But it's been an honor, and we wish you all the best for your journey
Yes.
ahead. Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much for the
Thank you.
invitation.